Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesha Shanyavadi Pashatate. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Vakam karoti vachalam samdhum langayate girim yatrapatam ham vande Shri Guru Dena Tarinam Parmananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwar. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining our Bhakti Vriksha session, where we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, the ripened fruit of all the scriptures. It's the very auspicious scriptures, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the very important scriptures for all of us to progress in our Krishna consciousness, to progress in our bhakti. So let's start. Before we start, we'll recite a few more verses about glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tarotu Jayamudhiryate. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nahishtaki. So, okay, we'll start reading one by one paragraph. Every devotee can read turn by turn.
I'll start, Prabhu.
Yes, Mata.
Yeah. The words Janmadasya suggests that the source of all production, maintenance, and destruction is the same Supreme Conscious Person. Even in our present experience, we can know that nothing is generated from the inert matter, but inert matter can be generated from the living entity. For instance, by contact with the living entity, the material body develops into a working machine. Men with a poor fund of knowledge mistake the bodily machinery to be the living being, but the fact is that the living being is the basis of the bodily machine. The bodily machine is useless as soon as the living spark is away from it. Similarly, the original source of all material energy is the Supreme Person. The fact is expressed in all the Vedic literatures, and all the exponents of the spiritual science have accepted this truth. The living force is called Brahman, and one of the greatest Acharya's teachers, namely Sri Pada Sankaracharya, has preached that Brahman is a substance, whereas the cosmic world is category. The original source of all energies is the living force, and he is logically accepted as a Supreme Person. He is therefore conscious of everything past, present, and future, and also of each and every corner of his manifestation, both material and spiritual. An imperfect living being does not even know what is happening within his own personal body. He eats his food but does not know how the food is transformed into energy or how it sustains his body. When a living being is perfect, he is aware of everything that happens, and since the Supreme Person is all perfect, it is quite natural that he knows everything in all detail. Consequently, the perfect personality is addressed in the Srimad Bhagavatam as Vasudeva, or one who lives everywhere in full consciousness and in full possession of his complete energy. All of this is clearly explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the reader has ample opportunity to study this critically. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So before this, anybody remember what has discussed in the previous two paragraph in the introduction? What or whatever Prabhuji has explained last time or discussed. So anybody would like to just recap it?
Homework not done, Prabhu. Sorry, thank.
Okay, no problem, Mataji. Anything, whatever is you can recall what Prabhuji has mentioned or Prabhuji has discussed last time. So from this, you can read also something, anything. So that will be like a flow, right? We will be in flow what we are discussing. So like introduction here, first line itself is written. The conception of God and conception of absolute truth are not on the same level. The Srimad Bhagavatam hits on the target of the absolute truth. The conception of God indicates the controller, whereas the conception of the absolute truth indicates the samam bonam, or the ultimate source of all energies. There is no difference of opinion about the personal features of God as the controller, because a controller cannot be impersonal. Mainly Prabhupada, before starting the Srimad Bhagavatam in the introduction, he has established, right, the personality of Godhead. Means the God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the personal, right? He is the Supreme Person. He is not any in-person or impersonal Brahma Jyoti or something like that, right? He is a person, right? So that is what Prabhupada is establishing in this introduction. There is no difference on opinion about the personal feature of God, because like controller, right? Whoever is the controller, he cannot be impersonal. So, of course, so that is what just wanted to highlight. Also, Prabhupada has given, according to the Bhagavad Gita, any controller who has some specific extraordinary power is called Vibhutimat Sattva, or controller empowered by the Lord. So basically, every one of us are in some way or other are controller, right? We are also controlling something, where whatever we have power, and at that much level, we are controlling. But we are not the supreme controller. We don't have everything in control, right? So who only has everything in control is the Krishna, is the God, right? God only has all the control, all the power, right?
I
And
think
also,
we are the controller of our senses, but that also all of the senses we are not able to control.
yes, we even senses are, yeah, we are not able to control our senses. Yeah. So so that's why absolute truth is one without a second. And absolute truth, this Srimad Bhagavatam designates the absolute truth of the Saman Bonam as the Param Satyam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is establishing this truth, absolute truth, or the Saman Bonam as the Param Satyam. So who is the independent, who is the Swarat, who is the Param Satya? That is what Srimad Bhagavatam is telling us, that who is the supreme authority, supreme truth, absolute truth, right? And supremely independent and supremely controlled. Controller, sorry. Yeah, supremely controlled. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasdev, first offers his respectful obeisance to the Param Satyam, absolute truth. And because the Param Satyam is the ultimate source of all energies, the Param Satyam is the supreme person. Right? Again, Prabhupada is establishing about the Supreme Person, means personal feature of the Param Satya, means Krishna. And this is very much important that whenever we start write anything, so Srila Vyasdev is teaching us that he has respectful obeisances. He has given all the respectful obeisance to Param Satyam. Om, and like we have also recited, right? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Om Namo Bhagavate 3 times we recite and then we start Srimad Bhagavatam. So that Srila Vyasdev only has taught us that God or the controller are undoubtedly person, but the Param Satyam from whom the God derives powers of control is the Supreme Person. So basically, all the energies, right, is coming from the Supreme Persons. So yeah, this is what we have already discussed last time, and the same thing, this Ishwar and Parameshwar, right? We should understand. Yeah, this is what we are saying. Ishwar means basically controller, and in like many times you will heard that Lord Indra, even Brahma, Shiva is also called Ishwar, right? Because they are also controller, right? In some way or other, they are also controlling something. They have also power, right? But the supreme person is the Parameshwar. He is the Krishna or Vishnu, right? So Ishwar and Parameshwar, these are the two terms we should understand. So now next, today's we have started reading from this passage, third. So the word Janmadiyasya, yeah. So first, once we'll start the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the first verse. Janmadiyasya yata anvayat itratas chatreshu abhigna swarat. So this is the first word of that shloka. The word Janmadiyasya. Janmadiyasya suggests that the source of all production, maintenance, or destruction is the same supreme conscious person. Right? So all the beginning, all the source of everything, basically, right, is the Krishna or the Vishnu, and he is the supremely conscious person. Right? He is the supremely conscious person. Janmadiyasya. In the Bhagavad Gita also we have read this shloka, right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhav samannita, right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo means I am the source of all the creation, material and spiritual, right? So same thing is given here. Even in our present experience, we can know that nothing is generated from inert matter, but inert matter can generated from the living entity. So this is what we should understand. Prabhupada is emphasizing here about like he's condemning this philosophy of what is that black science. Big Bang Theory, yeah, they are saying about Big Bang Theory, right? That Big Bang Theory has produced all this universe, but this is how it can happen, right? That's what Prabhupada is always condemning that theory, because we can understand that anything, I mean, from inert matter or from Jad Padarth, right? Inert matter is Jad Padarth, which doesn't have any life. So how that thing which doesn't have life can produce a more life or any living entity, right? So only living entity when it is putting his energy, right, can produce something, but inert matter or Jad Padarth can't create any living entity. So, like in Big Bang Theory, it is said that it just something it happened, some blast happened, and this beautiful creation happened. How can it happen? Like if even we know that for For anything need to produce, we need so much. First of all, we need so much knowledge, right, to produce that thing. Like anything, if even if we are creating, drawing any painting, right, any flower, beautiful flower, that for that also we need something, some knowledge of colors, right, some knowledge of drawing skills, right, and then after that we have to put our energy in that, and then we can produce that, right, we can create some nice flower. So when, and even if we are creating that nice flower, that doesn't have any smell, right, but Lord has created very beautiful flowers, right, and that has also very nice smells, right. So that when that normal painting required so much effort, right, how can it happens that by just by chance, or by just by Big Bang theory, any blast can create any nice, very nice beautiful flowers, very beautiful creation, right. So everywhere, wherever we have seen the destruction, like volcano or whatever, the earthquake or something, that is all is creating havoc or the destruction only, not construction, right. So this Big Bang is also like something like a blast. So that can't create any creation. That can only destroy the things. Right? So, for instance, by contact with the living entity, the material body develops into a working machine. Right. So Prabhupada is explaining very nicely these with the examples also. Right. Many examples. We are creating the machines, right, with the living entities contact, when basically when we are putting our energy. Right? Men with poor fund of knowledge mistake the bodily machines to be living being, but the fact is that the living being is the basis of bodily machine. Bodily machine is useless as soon as the living spark is away from it. Right? This is also we are experiencing, and in the Bhagavad Gita, Dehino Isman Yatha Dehe Kumaram Yoganam Yara. Right? We know that is shloka. So as soon as that living spark leaves that body becomes a nothing. Right? There is no energy, nothing can't do by that body. Sometime back only, it has motion, it has uh, movements, right? But as soon as living spark went, it becomes the inert matter. Okay, so the living force is called, yeah. So then this, what is the living force called? We call it Brahman. Brahman means the that the effulgence coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that this is a spiritual spark, right, Brahman. And even Sripad Shankaracharya, Prabhupada is given Shankaracharya's acceptance also about Brahman, that Brahman is the substance where the cosmic void is category. So cosmic void is so cosmic void is produced by the Lord himself, and from his energy, right, from his Brahman effulgence. The original source of all energy is the living force, and he is logically accepted as the Supreme Person. So that's why even this Brahma Jyoti is also coming from so that is also the energy of the Lord, and it is also coming from the source of that energy. And who is the source of energy? Is the Supreme Person. He is the Supreme Person. Who is he? Is the Vishnu or Krishna, right? He is therefore conscious of everything past, present, and future, and also of each and every corner of his manifestation, both material and spiritual. An imperfect living entity does not even know what is happening within the body. Yeah. So here again, one more example, like we don't know even in our body what is happening, right? We just eat and we forget. How it is transformed into the energy, we don't know exactly, right? If we So for that we have to read, understand, experiment, then we. But the supremely conscious person means the Krishna. He knows not only about himself, but about each and every living entity, not only human beings. He knows, and he has he is in full consciousness of everything. He is aware of everything that happens, right, in and around what we can't even see. So, okay, so let's read the next paragraph. Anybody would like to read?
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Yes.
It is imperative that one learn the Srimad Bhagavatam.
This one in the modern.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. In the modern age, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached the Srimad Bhagavatam by practical demonstration. It is easier to penetrate into the topics of the Srimad Bhagavatam through the medium of Sri Chaitanya's causeless mercy. Therefore, a short sketch of his life and precepts is inserted herein to help the reader understand the real merit of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shall I continue or we'll discuss on this?
Thank you, Mataji. So anything before we proceed, anything from previous paragraph, anybody would like to say some points or any question or comment? If not, we can continue. So yeah, so here now Srila Prabhupada is writing about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the preacher for this Srimad Bhagavatam. He has practiced and he has also preached Srimad Bhagavatam. So this will come, we will know more about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So yeah, we can continue. Anybody would like to read? Or Mataji can only read?
Should I read, Prabhupada?
Yes, Mataji.
It is imperative that one learns Srimad Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. The person Bhagavatam is one whose life is Srimad Bhagavatam in practice. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the absolute personality of Godhead. He is both Bhagavan and Bhagavatam in person and in sound. Therefore, his process of approaching Srimad Bhagavatam is practical for all people of the world. It was his wish that the Srimad Bhagavatam be preached in every nook and corner of the world by those who happen to take their birth in India. Should I continue?
Thank you, Mataji. So this is clear, right? I mean, anyone has any question, they can stop me and ask any time in between also, right? So Srila Prabhupada is writing here and explaining us that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So basically, first we should understand Srimad Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. Person Bhagavatam means who is living Bhagavatam. Basically, we have seen so many Bhagavad Saptas and right, going on in the market by the name of spiritual organization or by the name of spiritual thing. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also reciting in many places, and they are very good, eloquent speaker, right? They are explaining like anything, and people are also in tears or they are jumping, dancing, and many things, right? But we should understand, that's what Prabhupada is explaining, that we should understand the Srimad Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. Yeah, whoever is putting or explaining Srimad Bhagavatam or reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, we are not saying that everyone is like bogus or something like that, but it may be genuine also. So that's what we should understand, that that person should be Bhagavata. Bhagavatam means he should be living Bhagavatam. Living Bhagavatam means he not only reciting and not only just speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, but he's practicing Bhagavatam, right? Srimad Bhagavatam in practice. So what does it mean? Srimad Bhagavatam in practice means he should live like that. He, like in if he is saying something like to restrain our senses and other things, right? While reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, or he's just giving pravachan that mind control, sense control, many big things he is telling. But on back side of his stage, what he is doing, he himself is not having any control over his senses. He is just drinking wine or whatever, hookah or whatever, like. So that doesn't mean he is a Bhagavat, right? He's a pure recitation. He's pure. I mean, he's not giving us that Bhagavatam in the purity. Right? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is absolute personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Krishna himself, right? But he came in this material world to teach us, to set the example, and to propagate this mission of bhakti, right? Devotional service. And he has propagated these two things. He has emphasized on the Srimad Bhagavatam and holy name, right? Holy name is none different than the Krishna himself. So therefore, his process of approaching the Srimad Bhagavatam is practical for all people of the world. It was his wish that Srimad Bhagavatam be preached in every nook and corner, right? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jare dekho tare kho Krishna Upadesh. Yeah, this is the one, and another one is like every nook and corner. In every nook and corner, means everywhere the Krishna's name will be recited. So, Bharat Bhumi te janma hoile jar, janma sarthak kare kare paropkar. So that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also said, that those who have taken the birth in the Shri Bharat Bhumi, they should take this bhakti seriously, and they should also preach this mission to each and every person in everywhere, in all over the world. Okay, so let's continue.
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yes.
The Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, of whom we have preliminary information from the text of Bhagavad Gita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that anyone, regardless of what he is, who is well versed in the science of Krishna, Sri Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, can become an authorized preacher or preceptor in the science of Krishna. Shall I continue?
Yes, Prabhu.
There is a need for the science of Krishna in human society for the good of all suffering humanity of the world, and we simply request the leaders of all nations to pick up this science of Krishna for their own good, for the good of society, and for the good of all the world's people.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
So this is what Prabhupada is requesting everyone, right? So that this is very much important to understand the science of Krishna for the society, for our own good, right? And for everyone's good in general. So that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is very much important, very much needed for this age of Kali. Okay, so let's begin the life story about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is little bit information, or little bit, you can say, the life and teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given in this short description of this introduction by Prabhupada, and we'll get to know more about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll read a short sketch of the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the preacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Chaitanya himself was also reading and hearing from his close associates, and he's also preaching that we should. He's also, he's also propagating Srimad Bhagavatam's teachings. Okay, so we'll continue. We'll continue reading. Anybody would like to read?
Prabhuji, I'll read.
Yes, Madhu.
Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great apostle of love of God and the father of the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, advented himself at Sridham Mayapur, a quarter in the city of Navadvipa in Bengal. On the Falguni Purnima evening in the year 1407,
Sakabda.
corresponding to February 1486 by the Christian calendar. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Okay, Madhu.
His father, Sri Jagannath Mishra, a learned Brahman from the district of Silhet, came to Navadvipa as a student because at that time Navadvip was considered to be the center of education and culture. He domiciled on the banks of the Ganga after marrying Srimati Sachi Devi, a daughter of Srila Nilambar Chakravarti, the great learned scholar of Navadvipa.
Thank you, Madhu. So here Prabhupada is explaining about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent in the Navadvip, right, Sridham Mayapur. And in 1407, means 15th century, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this material world. And what is his father's name?
Jagannath Mishra.
Jagannath Mishra. And mother name?
Sachi Devi.
No, mother
Sachi
name.
Devi.
Sachi Devi, yeah. Okay. And Sachi Devi's father name is Srila Nilambar Chakravarti. Okay. Yeah. So we'll continue. Anybody would like to read?
Nobody is reading.
I'll start again.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, should I start
Jagannath.
from here? Oh, Jagannath Mishra had a number of daughters by his wife Srimati Sachi Devi, and most of them expired at an early age. Two surviving sons, Sri Vishwarupa and Vishwambhara, became at last the object of their parental affection. The 10th and the youngest son, who was named Vishwambhara, later became known as Nimai Pandit, and then after accepting the renounced order of life, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Auntie. So, what are the names we understood from this passage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What was his name, which is given by Jagannath Mishra and Lord Sachi Devi?
Vishambhara Mishra.
Vishambhara. Right. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's another name is Vishambhara. Right? Vishambhara is given by his parents, right? Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. And because he appeared under the neem tree, so he also named as Nimai. Right? Neem, from neem it came Nimai. And why he is called Pandit, Nimai Pandit, because he is the scholar. He was the scholar of the Navadvip, and nobody can defeat him in the Shastrat. So he was like he knows everything from the Shastras, right? So he was the Nimai Pandit. And after sannyas, he named as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Okay, so we'll continue. So these names just remember, right? So that's why I use emphasize them.
I'll read Prabhuji. Nobody's coming forward. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his transcendental activities for 48 years and then disappeared from the from this mortal world in the year 1455, Sakabda at Puri. For his first 24 years, he remained at Navadvipa as a student and householder. His first wife was Srimati Lakshmi Priya, who died at an early age, when the Lord was away from home. When he returned from East Bengal, he was requested by his mother to accept a second wife, and he agreed. His second wife was Srimati Vishnupriya Devi, who bore the separation of the Lord throughout her life, because the Lord took the order of sannyasa at the age of 24 when Srimati Vishnupriya was barely 16 years old. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So Mahaprabhu has lived in this material world for 48 years, right?
Yeah.
Out of this 48 years, 24 years he spent in the Navadvip, and rest of the 24 years he spent in the Puri, Jagannath Puri. So, and he has two wives. One is Lakshmi Priya, another is Vishnu Priya. Okay. Yeah. So, and he has taken sannyas at the age of 24. So after sannyas, he decided in the Jagannath Puri. Okay. Okay. So we can continue. Who all are have visited Mayapur?
I have, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji,
So there is a mandir in Navadvip where Vishnupriya has made a deity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and she used to worship that deity. It's there in Navadvip. And many other places.
He was worshipping that Murti, right?
Yeah.
So you have been to the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also?
Yes, Navadvip.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
You would have visited many places. Okay. So definitely, whenever everyone, anyone else who has visited Shri Dham Mayapur. Okay. So whenever we get chance, please try to visit these pastime places of Lord Chaitanya. We have very nice temple in Mayapur, right? As one temple also, and there is one big TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium, is coming up.
It's very nice, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue. After taking sannyas.
Should I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, ma'am.
After taking sannyasa, the Lord made his headquarters at Jagannath Puri due to the request of his mother, Srimati Sati Devi. The Lord remained for 24 years at Puri. For 6 years of this time, he traveled continuously all over India and especially throughout the southern India, preaching the Srimad Bhagavatam. Should I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, ma'am.
Lord Chaitanya not only preached the Srimad Bhagavatam, but propagated the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, as well in the most practical way. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna is depicted as the absolute personality of Godhead, and his last teachings in the great book of transcendental knowledge instruct that one should give up all modes of religious activities and accept him, Lord Shri Krishna, as the only worshipable Lord. The Lord then assured that all his devotees would be protected from all sorts of sinful acts, and that for them there would be no cause for anxiety. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody remembers this shloka?
Sarvadhar.
Yeah.
Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami nasute.
Thank you, Mataji. So let's continue further. Anybody would like to read? Anyone else?
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, madam, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Unfortunately, despite Lord Sri Krishna's direct order and the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, less intelligent people misunderstood him to be nothing but a great historical personality and thus they cannot accept him as the original personality of Godhead. Such men with a poor fund of knowledge are missed by many non-devotees. Thus the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita were misinterpreted even by the great scholars. After the disappearance of Lord Sri Krishna, there were hundreds of commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita by many erudite scholars, and almost every one of them was motivated by self-interest. Shall I read further, ma'am, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the self-named Lord Sri Krishna. This time, however, he appeared as a great devotee of the Lord in order to preach to the people in general, as well as to religionists and philosophers about the transcendental position of Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord and the cause of all the causes. The essence of his preaching is that Lord Sri Krishna, who appeared at Vrajabhumi, Vrindavana, as the son of the king of Vraja, Nanda Maharaja, is the supreme personality of Godhead and is therefore worshipable by all. Vrindavana Dhama is non-different from the Lord because the name, fame, form and place where Lord manifests himself are all identical with the Lord as absolute knowledge. Therefore, Vrindavana Dhama is as worshipable as the Lord. The highest form of the transcendental worship of the Lord was exhibited by the damsels of Rajabhumi in the form of pure affection for the Lord, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends this process as the most excellent mode of worship. He accepts the Srimad Bhagavata Purana as the spotless literature for understanding the Lord, and he preaches that the ultimate goal of life for all human beings is to attain the stage of prema or love of God. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Auntie. So, any question, comment here? Any points? Many nice points has Prabhupada has highlighted here. So we'll just little bit discuss. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the same Lord Shri Krishna. And he is the same. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the same as Lord Krishna. Sai Gaur, Sai Krishna, Sai Jagannath. Right? We sing this song, right? Jai Gaur, Sai Krishna, Sai Jagannath. So who is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Who is the Sai Gaur? Gaur means Gaur also, because he is the Gaur one, right? He is in the golden complexion. That's why there is one more name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Gauranga, right? Gauranga, Gaur one ke, Gauranga. So Gauranga. So Jai Gaur, Sai Krishna, Sai Jagannath. जो गौर है वही कृष्ण है, वही जगन्नाथ है, right? This time, however, he appeared as a great devotee of the Lord. So this time means he is the Krishna, he is the supreme controller, he can do anything, whatever he is wish, right? So this time means in this Kali Yuga, right? Krishna appeared as his own devotee, and he came as his own devotee with means Radhare Bhav, Radha ka bhav leke he came in the disguise of a devotee. Lord himself is coming. He just wanted to taste the nectar which Radharani is relishing, right? Because Radharani is the topmost devotee of Lord Krishna. And why and how she is always in the ecstasy. That's what Lord was wondering, and he wanted to taste the same nectar. That's why he came. He took the heart of Radharani, the bhav of Radharani, and the complexion also of Radharani. Means Gaur one, he came in the golden form. Right? So So basically, this is the thing. So the essence of his preaching is the Lord Krishna. So he came as a devotee, and what he is establishing, means Lord Chaitanya is establishing that he's establishing the teachings of Lord Krishna. Basically, the Bhagavad Gita teachings. The Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna is saying, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. And what Lord Chaitanya is explaining, surrender unto Krishna. Please say Hari Hari. Please chant the name of Lord Krishna, right? So that's why that's what we can understand also, that Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching is non-different. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna is also saying, surrender unto me, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he's saying, surrender to Krishna. So this is there is one point. Vrindavan Dham is non-different from the Lord. So this is very much important. Whenever we are visiting any dham, like Vrindavan Dham, Mathura Dham, Dwarkapuri Dham, so these dham, because their Lord has performed his Leela, his pastimes, they are non-different than the Lord himself, right? The name, the fame, form, and place where Lord manifests himself are all identical with the Lord as absolute knowledge. Because Lord is absolute, so Lord's paraphernalia, Lord's pastime, activity, places, his name, his fame, his form, everything is non-different than the Lord himself. So we should be very careful. We should not do any dham aparadh also, right? We should try to worship the dham also as a Lord himself. Okay. So this is what I just wanted to highlight. And yeah, the last thing, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to spread the love of Godhead, right? Prema. So he came for highest, to give us highest form of worship in the Lord. And what is the highest form? Is the love of Godhead, right? So he is giving us highest thing in the bhakti, in the devotion, and there are means like in yoga process we can say that there are different stages, but the love of Godhead is the topmost position, and is the topmost highest goal for each and every living entity to attain. So that love of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came to spread or to distribute among us. Okay.
What is dham aparadh you said mentioned just now, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji. So basically that's what now we can understand, that we should understand, like in any dham, Mataji, when we visit, we basically those dhams are also covered by the Yog Maya potency of the Lord. So with that Yog Maya potency, Lord has covered that dham, and we are not able to understand the importance or understand the beauty of that dham from our this naked eyes, from our this these chakshus, basically these eyes, which are filled of first of all, these are not perfect, right? These are imperfect senses. With our imperfect senses, we can't see the actual thing. So dham is covered by Lord's energy, and because when we are visiting just like any other place. In Vrindavan, we can see so many places. Some
The Bhagavatam.
somewhere
Bhagavad Gita.
pollution or some dust or garbage is keeping. So we can say that, hey, what kind of dham is? But no, that is external appearance, right? Because, and that also is done by us only, right? That gandagi or whatever, right? But we should understand the dham as as given in the Shastras, it is given in the scriptures. We should understand its glories, its importance as per our acharyas. Acharyas have told us many pastime of those places, right? So dham aprad, basically aprad means when we are committing offenses, right? So like many naam aprad is there, means when we are committing offenses to the holy name, right? When we are not chanting attentively, when we are not hearing properly the name of Lord, so we are taking it casually. So that's what same thing. We should not take the Vrindavan Dham, which is the not different than the Lord, and similarly the deities, right? The Vigraha, Archa Vigraha of the Lord. We should not take everything like these things, Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela, and Dham of Lord casually. We should worship them same as the Lord Himself. So if Lord is present before us, or we are visiting Dham, or we are worshipping the deities, or we are chanting the name of Lord, everything should be considered very, means we should be very cautious, we should be very careful to deal with the Lord and His paraphernalia. So
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. So anything else? Thank you, Mataji, for nice question. So let's read further. It's a passage. So anybody would like to read?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, ma'am.
Many devotees of Lord Chaitanya like Srila Vrindavana Dasa Thakura, Sri Lochana Dasa Thakura, Sri Krishna Dasa Kaviraja Goswami, Sri Kavi Karnapura, Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, and in this later age, within 200 years, Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarti, Sri Baladeva Vidbhushana, and Sri Syamananda Goswami, Sri Narottama Dasa Thakura, Sri Bhakti Vinoda Thakura, and at last Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura, our spiritual master, and many other great renowned scholars and devotees of the Lord have prepared voluminous book and literatures on the life of precepts of the Lord. Such literatures are all based on the Shastras like the Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and other histories and authentic literatures approved by recognized acharyas. They are unique in composition and unrivaled in presentation, and they are full of transcendental knowledge. Unfortunately, the people of the world are still ignorant of them. But when these literatures, which are mostly in Sanskrit and Bengali, come to light the world, and when they are presented before thinking people, then India's glory and the message of love will overflood this morbid world, which is vainly searching after peace and prosperity by various illusionary methods not approved by acharyas in the chain of disciplic succession. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So here Lord Chaitanya's successor are given, right? So many followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and very learned scholars. So these all are the Goswamis has given us the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in various scriptures, right? Different scriptures. So we should try to understand the Krishna's message or the Lord Chaitanya's message through these devotees or the devotees who are coming in the parampara, right? Not from anywhere else. So that is very much important. So in the connection at the end, Prabhupada has given his spiritual master's name, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Sai Thakur, and from him, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has taken the initiation, and in that parampara only we are receiving this knowledge, because all the literature, literature what they have given are all based on Vedas, Puranas, Upanishad. So in the same succession, we are receiving this knowledge, right, in the disciple succession. So this is very much important. Yeah, next. You can read a little bit more.
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
The Lord's early life was recorded by one of his, the beginning one. Okay, sorry. The readers of this small description of the life and precepts of Lord Chaitanya will profit much to go through the books of Srila Vrindavana Dasa Thakura, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata, and Srila Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrita. The early life of the Lord is most fascinatingly expressed by the author of Chaitanya Bhagavata, and as far as the teachings are concerned, they are more vividly explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now they are available to the English-speaking public in our teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, so when Prabhupada is writing this introduction, till that time Prabhupada has given already these teachings of Lord Chaitanya in English. He has not yet started Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat is originally in Bengali, and Prabhupada has translated it into English, this Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Bhagavat is also translated by, I think, prior to Prabhupada, or maybe by Siddhanta Saraswati or Thakur or Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, this is also now available in English, but this is mainly we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? Chaitanya Charitamrita, who has written Chaitanya Charitamrita originally?
Krishnadasa Kaviraja.
Yeah, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And Chaitanya Bhagavat, who has written? Sri
Vrindavana Dasa Thakura.
Yeah, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. So, so Prabhupada has given in this small book, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
What is Chaitanya Bhagavata?
That is again, Mataji, that like Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the same. Similarly, the Chaitanya Bhagavat means the life story of the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right, that is mainly describing about the early life of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, full basically Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, and Anta Lila, all are given in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life from beginning to end, what he has done, who all are his associates, how he has preached, or everything, right? Like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will read in the 10th canto about the Lord Krishna's birth, right, from beginning to till his departure. Similarly, in the Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, so both are describing about the life story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, but in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, initial phase of early life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mostly described very elaborately. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was writing, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, at the age of 90, he wrote this Chaitanya Charitamrita. And at that time, Chaitanya Bhagavat was already there. So he was not, he don't wanted to write the same thing. And basically, nowadays, what we are seeing, the same thing, like even Bhagavad Gita's so many versions, every scholar wanted to present his own way, right? And on his his own commentary he wanted to present for Bhagavad Gita or many other books, and he is presenting like his book is better than anyone else, right? But here we can understand the Acharya's mood, the Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, when he was writing, I mean, he was not at all interested in writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but his spiritual master, he instructed him to do so. And that also at the age of 90, he started writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, means about the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. And that also when he started, he gave full respect to the Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, and he has he was so much obliged, so much respectful to him that he said that whatever means even in his book, when we'll read Chaitanya Chaitanya, in the starting, he is saying like, don't read Chaitanya Charitamrita, read Chaitanya Bhagavat, because that is more pure, more about Lord Chaitanya, and like that. I mean, he's glorifying so much Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, and but yeah, and then when he started writing, he don't wanted to repeat the same thing what Vrindavan Thakur has elaborately explained. So Vrindavan Thakur has elaborately explained about the Adi Leela, means the early life of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has given more focus on the Anta Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Means Anta Leela means when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the Jagannath Puri, and at the end of his this material means in this Prithvi, right? So that last phase he has explained it more vividly, because that was that part Nanddas Thakur has not written, or he couldn't write anything. So basically, he has given overall picture even in Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, and Anta Leela, but Anta Leela he has explained a lot, many things, many pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So that is the mode. And so for us, Chaitanya Charitamrita is very like PhD for this bhakti, right? Devotional service. So and whatever the teachings of Lord Chaitanya is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Prabhupada has given before that only the teachings of Lord Chaitanya in very small book, not very small, but yeah, crisp, in one book in English. And after that, Prabhupada has given us Chaitanya Charitamrita also. So,
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So yeah, we'll read further more. But the Lord's life, early life was recorded.
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
The Lord's early life was recorded by one of his chief devotees and contemporaries, namely Srila Murari Gupta, a medical practitioner of that time. And the later part was part of the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was recorded by his private secretary, Sri Damodar Goswami, or Srila Sarupa Damodar, who was practically a constant companion of Lord at Puri. These two devotees recorded practically all the incidents of the Lord's activities, and later on all the books dealing with the Lord, which are above mentioned, were composed on the basis of Kadachas notebooks by Srila Damodar Goswami and Murari Gupta. Should I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, ma'am.
So the Lord advented himself on the Falguni Purnima evening of 1407 Sakabda, and it was by the will of the Lord that there was a lunar eclipse on that evening. During the hours of the eclipse, it was the custom of Hindu public to take bath in the Ganges or any other sacred river and chant the Vedic mantras for purification. When Lord Chaitanya was born during the lunar eclipse, all India was roaring with the holy sound of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These 16 names of the Lord are mentioned in many Puranas and Upanishads, and they are described as the Tarak Brahma Nam of this age. It is recommended in the Shastras that offenseless chanting of these holy names of the Lord can deliver a fallen soul from material bondage. There are innumerable names of Lord both in India and outside, and all of them are equally good because all of them indicate the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because these 16 are especially recommended for this age, people should take advantage of them and follow the path of great acharyas who attain success by practicing the rules of the Shastras, revealed scriptures.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So with this, right? So this is very important, right? Should understand that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, he appeared for propagating the name of the holy name of the Lord Krishna, and even before he appeared, because that day it was lunar eclipse, so everyone was taking bath in the Ganges, in the river Ganga, and chanting the Vedic mantras, right? So everybody was in the mood, and before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, everybody was starting reciting the name of Lord Hari, right? So this is what recommended for this age, right? There are so many names, right? It is given here, but because this 16th level, these 16s are especially recommended for this age. This Hare Krishna Mahamantra basically is recommended for this age of Kali by our great acharyas who have followed this practice. We should also follow their footsteps, right? So let's begin our chanting with this mode that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us so much and very easy process of remembering Lord Krishna by the name, by this 16th level mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, which is the only savior for this age of Kali and for us. Like we are so much polluted, we have so many anarthas, right, in ours, and we can't do even we can't do any other sacrifice. So this Nam Yagya sacrifice is very simplest approach, simplest method, which is mercifully given by the Lord Chaitanya. So let's take advantage of this and let's recite, let's do our one round of chanting, and then we will wind up. Okay. So I'm just opening this. So everyone has their chanting beats. So we'll continue Srimad Bhagavatam from next session, from wherever we left today, right? From here. Yeah, it's a big one. So we'll read next week. So everyone can read in their home whenever they get time. Okay. Okay. So before we wind up for today's discussion, let's do one round of chanting. Then we'll
Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Radha, Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much everyone for joining our Bhakti Vriksha session. I hope everyone is finding this session useful.
Very useful, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions before we wrap up for today? Any comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it was nice session. We are learning about how who all wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita and all. We did not have so much of knowledge, so we got today all this knowledge, various acharyas and all. We did not have that much. When we started also Srimad Bhagavatam, we skipped this introduction part and started with the verses. So now we are reading this and coming to know how important it was. That is it.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Yes,
Information other than the book information, like he was that Chaitanya Charitamrita is the Antalila and the Bhagavata is the Adilila, and he was 90 years old when he. So Prabhuji, Chaitanya Charitamrita is not in Bengali anymore on the website.
I know, Mataji, it's in Bengali also. I mean, online.
Only on that Ekadasi day, but it is no longer in Bengali, maybe out of stock.
Okay. The verses, Mataji, is still in Bengali only.
Yeah.
Even if we will read our Prabhupada's book also, Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita translation, the verses are still in Bengali accent, and when we are singing that that becomes very, very nectarian, very sweet also when we recite those verses. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are many verses. Most of the verses are in Bengali. Few are in Sanskrit. Few are from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, also many other scriptures. So, and those are in Sanskrit, but most of the Sanskrit verses are in Bengali. The English translation only we can say that it is from Srila Prabhupada in English. But yeah, English, I'm sorry, the original, if you want Bengali, I don't know, you can get online, but I will try to see. Or maybe book you can get it, I think, somewhere. Chaitanya Charitamrita definitely in Bengali is there. Prabhupada.
Das Kaviraj, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj, the Bengali one.
That one, I mean, original one, which I don't know, Mataji, we can get it. But yeah, definitely Prabhupada's translation, which is in English, that is also again translated in Bengali and many other languages, right? So that definitely.
Yes.
All the scriptures, all the like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the Prabhupada's book are available in various languages, right?
Yes.
So that definitely in Bengali also we have Odia also, and in our Indian languages, all Indian languages we have Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, every languages we have, even foreign languages also, right? All the books are Spanish, Japanese, all the languages. By the Prabhupada's mercy or Prabhupada's disciples' mercy, we have all the luxury of in reading all these scriptures in our own regional language or our own mother language. So we should not just, miss this opportunity. So somehow or other, or whatever is, comfortable for us, we should just read. We should just connect to the Prabhupada's book.
Yes, Prabhuji. My mother's father's family are Vaishnavas, so they have a Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it is in such dilapidated state, it can be read, Prabhuji. It's Bengali only, but it can be. I'll get a new.
Nice, yeah. Okay, so anything else? Thank you everyone for joining. Let's meet next week. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.